Hi, this is Adam from Together Audio. I hope you are enjoying your RE4ORM FX plugin, and if you haven't already played with it, there's a demo on our website so you can check it out. I have prepared this video to show you some techniques and applications of RE4ORM FX to really take out the thing for a spin and show you what the plugin is capable of. I recommend that you check out the great introductory video Arthur made so you are ready to dive deeper. Let's get started. Okay, so here's a little track I've prepared. So far it's nothing exciting because all the effects in all the instruments have been bypassed, and instead we'll be using RE4ORM FX to breathe some life into the individual tracks. So let's listen to it, bringing up all the tracks one by one so you can see what's going on. The last track is noise from a noise generator. We'll be getting to this later on to create a razor. The bass and the acid lead have been created using the RE4ORM virtual instrument. Be sure to check this out on our website. So, let's start with the kick. The kick is not very good, so we'll use the compressor to tighten this up a bit. The compressor features an auto makeup gain, so as the ratio gets higher and the threshold gets lower, the makeup gain rises to compensate for the compression going on. So let's start with a very short attack, high ratio, and bring down the threshold. And now bring the attack a little up so we get some of the punch back. Okay, so that's sounding better. And now we'll use filter 1 in 4-pole mode to control the envelope of the kick, to make it shorter. We'll set the freeform shape to a quarter note. This is 1 cycle per kick, and we'll modulate the frequency so it opens only on the transient and then closes to make the kick shorter, and then open up just before the next hit for the transient to pass accurately. We'll use the free draw mode to draw what we want. So now the kick is much tighter. Next up, the bass. What we want to do here is we want to create sort of a side-chained bass pumping. But first, let's filter this bass down a bit, because it's got too much high harmonics. It's a nice sounding acoustic-like bass, but we want to transform it completely with RE4ORM FX. So first, 2-pole low-pass mode filtering, a little less resonance. Now we'll drive it with the drive shaper. We'll bring out the output gain a little. So now we have transformed the bass into a synthy sounding one. And now we'll use filter 2 and the freeform shape synced to a quarter note. And again with the free draw mode, we'll draw sort of a sidechain curve. Something like this, and this will be used to modulate the frequency. So the filter will be closed at first and open after the bass hits, creating sort of a side-chained pumping. Now with the kick. Now let's move on to the noisy stab. What we'll do, we'll use the formant filter with two formants, bass A and alto A, but we want them to switch between the chords, sort of like this. What we need here is the 50% pulse wave modulating the balance. So there's if this will be synced to 2 bars, one chord lasts 1 bar and the other chord lasts the second bar. So for half of this shape, remember the whole shape lasts 2 bars, we'll have the balance control all the way to the left for the 1 bar and all the way to the right for the second bar, transferring between these two formants. And we'll smooth the transition up a bit with the smoothing tool. Now let's create some movement using filter 2. Let's bring the volume up a bit with the output panel. And we also modulate resonance, but in reverse, with inverse polarity, so as the freeform shape goes up, the resonance will go down, but at the same time the frequency will go up, so they will move in opposite directions. We'll apply some reverb. And at the output, we'll set freeform shape to 2 bars and modulate the pan, so the stab moves around a bit. Now for the percussion track. We'll use the pipe model to introduce some random resonances. So, to make this resonating, we need to open the damping circuit and find the frequency we like. Moving the feedback and coupling controls will influence the internal feedback of the pipe model, changing the sound of the pitched resonance it generates. The limiter knob controls the internal gain of the limiter, so you can push the sound against the limiter. It also prevents the pipe model resonance from getting too loud and blowing up your speakers. Also, the resonance generated can be mixed into the signal, so it's not always full wet. Now what we want is the pitch to randomly change. We can use the skyline shape, but let's look at something more random. By right-clicking, we get the Surprise Me, a drop-down. We can see what we come up with. Oh, this is very random. But to trim this a little so that the highest points are always the same, so we get a consistent ring at the higher frequencies, we'll use the Command modifier key or Control on Windows to trim the ceiling on this and we'll modulate the pitch with this freeform shape. Just mix this a little. And we'll apply some delay and we'll modulate so that the feedback and the mix will get higher as the loop progresses. So we'll clear this, and with the warp mode we'll have something like this, and use then the free draw to finish this off. Let's make this 2 bars. You can hear the delays becoming more prominent at the end. And maybe some panning at the output, but with a faster freeform shape. So there is this cool moving percussion texture in the background. Now for the RE4ORM AC lead. This sound has been overdriven a bit, but we want some more drastic drive, so we'll use RE4ORM FX's drive shaper, or the wave folder even. And then filter out with a driven low pass to introduce even more drive. And modulate the frequency so the lead comes and goes. And we'll introduce some reverb, but a very short one, to get sort of a room quality with no damping. So it's a very bright and short reverb with a high mix. So now let's look at the noise track. Simple white noise, and we'll use this to create a razor. What we'll do, we'll select filter 2 in low pass mode, and we'll use a rising curve. Let's draw this with the free draw mode. Right click clear. Something like this. Okay, that's about it, and we'll make the time of the freeform shape 8 bars, so it will slowly rise throughout the entire track, and along with the frequency rise, also the resonance will rise. So the resonance is low when the filter is closed, so it will not generate a resonant bump in the lows, muddying up our track. It will just go up, something like this near the end. Also we'll reduce the drive, and then we'll use a similar technique to bring out the reverb. So we'll use a long reverb with no damping, so it's bright, and we'll make the mix of the reverb rise along the same curve. So we'll name this rising, save it, and then in the reverb we'll select it from the user presets, rising. Also set this to 8 bars and modulate the mix of the reverb with it. So that's it, let's listen to the finished track. And as you'll hear, it has become much more exciting and lively with the use of RE4ORM FX. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and you're ready to create some amazing stuff of your own with RE4ORM FX. Feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram with any comments or questions you might have. Also keep track of our website and social media channels, as we'll have some new content for you very soon.